So I'm really excited about this project. I first came across Peter Thomson, who was a Dunedin local in the mid-1800s who wrote for the ODT about his rambles around Dunedin. I first came across him a number of years ago when a reporter at the Inch Bar provided a PDF document to Steve Tripp, and he provided it to me.
And the cool thing about it was all put together by his great-granddaughter, Mary Skipworth, who's actually now in her 90s.
So over the next few days, we're each going to do one of the walks from the articles that Peter's written. The cool thing about having the article along with the walk is that you get to really understand what life was like in Dunedin in the mid-1800s. I'm going to be doing Signal Hill, so that walk started from the Octagon and goes all the way to the top of Signal Hill where the trig is.
I'm going to be doing the Water of Leith, starting on 4th Street by the Uni and ending on the campground at the bottom of Rockside Road.
And I am doing Ross's Creek, better known as Ross Creek, and that starts in Arthur Street and finishes where Ross Creek joins the Leith River.
So I've started the walk up Signal Hill. Now, I'll level with you, I didn't start from the Octagon, which is where Peter started when he wrote his article in August in 1864.
Today we're walking along one of Dunedin's most historic waterways, the Water of Leith. It shares its name with the city in Edinburgh, Scotland, and with my own personal family connections there, I've always loved the connection between the two cities. And today I've brought with me my twin 3-year-old boys, Lachlan and Archie.
Ross's Creek, I've got the dog, we're ready to go. We're going to skirt the town belt and we'll see where it takes us. So we're now going to cross over Stewart Street onto Queen's Drive via the traffic lights. Come on.
Now, I haven't been able to follow the path that Peter's taken because he started over here where the quarry is, at the end of the ridge. And when he got to the top, freely perspiring, he said to his reader, this is the moment to exclaim, spell O, which must have been what all the cool kids were saying back then.
So they left the town belt and crossed paddocks to get to District Road, which of course now there are no paddocks, it's just houses.
The University Oval just over there used to be part of an inlet called Pelican Bay. We believe this is where Peter Thomson's original ramble began.
He talks about crossing the Balmacewen estate, or he just says Balmacewen. Now in the research I've completed, Balmacewen estate is the estate of John McGlashan, and the Otago Golf Club, Balmacewen Golf Course, they purchased part of that estate. It's wet enough that there aren't really any golfers out, but we're going to sneak around the edges of the course.
When he walked from the Octagon, he had to avoid Cumberland Street due to the veritable quagmire, very deep mud.
Oh, boggy, boggy, boggy.
Obviously, not so many easy tracks as there is nowadays, much more dense bush.
We're going to do a little bit of bushwhacking now, through that.
And quite a hard fight.
Now here's something I certainly didn't know. When Peter mentions the Botanical Gardens, he's actually talking about this site here, which is now the University of Otago. Back then, the Leith had a major flood, which washed out the gardens and made it move to where it is today.
Right, we're going to come out onto Cannington Road here and down into the Ross Creek track proper. In his ramble, he calls it Ross's Creek, which is interesting because it's now known as Ross Creek. I wonder who Ross is.
He did run into some people on the way up Signal Hill, and that civilization had found its way up here, but not in any big way, mostly in clearing trees. There was a guy that was growing a crop of potatoes, and that was about it. So one of the cool things that I like about walking in Dunedin is that you can go on so many walks and not see actually too many people.
G'day.
How are you?
Good, how are you? G'day, how are you?
So that's one of the things that hasn't really changed too much.
So we've come off onto Cannington Road and now we've entered the Ross Creek walking tracks. And from here, we're going to drop down the stairs where it kind of hits the edge of the golf course again and crosses over a wee creek.
The gardens were relocated here, where we know them to be today. Even in Peter's time, he mentions this place to be incredibly beautiful. He also says that the Acclimatisation Society has taken it over, with plans to create a beautiful recreational area for the public, which clearly they succeeded.
So here we are, joining what I believe to be Bar Creek. And you happy about getting wet feet? Yep. I've crossed this creek 100, probably 200 times and never been up it. Go on, boy.
So I've reached the monument, and a lot of people think this is actually the top of Signal Hill, but as you'll see soon, there's a step beyond this, which is climbing to the trig, a little bit further up that way.
That's going to bring us out below the reservoir, right? I reckon we carry on a little bit and then crash down. So we're now doing the final drop down to the reservoir, where it's getting pretty steep.
So to get to the final push and that trig at the top, you've got to come back away from the monument, down Signal Hill Road, and then you'll see this right-hand turn, which is just before the farm with all the lovely old stone walls and stone sheds.
Back in the 1800s, the Leith powered breweries, sawmills, and even a flax mill that ambitiously tried turning native harakeke into linen. And if you look closely, you can still spot some signs of that early industry.
Well, that was about as much fun as any bush bash is, but I have to say it's kind of nice to finish the walk like this because it feels a little bit more intrepid.
I put my back out earlier. All right, here comes Steve through the creek. Yep.
And just like any good ramble, getting lost is always part of the fun.
Oh, jeez, that's not good for my back.
Well, there's the trig behind me. However, my walk is not over. There are actually two trigs up here. There's this one, which is on publicly accessible land, and there's a second one, which is just over here, that white speck you might see on top of the crest of that hill there. That's on private land, and that is the one that Peter Thomson walked to back in 1864.
Here we go. Beautiful. Ross's Creek. Opened in 1867. That's just 2 years after Peter was here, I think. I think it was 65.
In his article, Peter promises the reader that they will be met by one of the most magnificent views if they're willing to climb all the way to the top of Signal Hill.
This here, he talks about where Bar Creek joins Ross's Creek, and he describes it as the most wonderful spectacle fit for a photographer. It is spectacular, actually, when you really stop to appreciate it.
What a cool thing to be able to do to retrace the steps of Peter Thomson, the Dunedin Rambler, and get a bit of an insight into what this area was like in the mid-1800s.
Here we are at the end of our walk. 2 rivers, 2 countries, but so many shared stories.
So there we have it. That was Peter Thomson's ramble of Ross's Creek. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Awesome. Cheers. How much fun was that? We were like bushwhacking, we were going up the creek. We even got stuck trying to get out of the wee little waterway onto the reservoir.
Yeah, it's good fun. I had a pretty good huff and puff up Signal Hill. When you get to the top, there's actually 2 trigs. One's really easy to get to, and the other one, which is actually the Signal Hill trig, is you've got a bush bash to get to it.
That's where you get the view from, isn't it?
It is.
And for anyone wanting to do a long walk like that with 3-year-olds in tow, make sure you bring the snacks because we went through plenty of them, especially when we got lost in those tracks in Woodhill Gardens.
It's definitely a bit of a maze in there, that's for sure. But what a legend! Like Peter Thomson, he was a tough man. Like those trails were completely different back then.
Yeah, and such a cool resource to have his articles now, so we can replicate those walks.
The cool thing is we've got plenty more to go. Looking forward to seeing what the next one is.
Can't wait. It's going to be awesome.